Hello and welcome to the final edition of Africa Speaks for the year 2014. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Now, it's been a year that has been, that has seen both the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you talk about the most recent, of course, you will talk about the Burkina Faso protests, you'll talk about the Boko Haram attacks, you'll talk about, what happened in South Sudan that was at the beginning of the year, and you'll also not leave out Al-Shabaab or the terror attacks by the Al-Shabaab militants. And of course, there has been also some good news, the World Cup. And we've also seen, a lot of things happening on the African continent in the entertainment scene and also the social scene. And we also did remember, Mandela's first anniversary, I should say, after Mandela's death and what the continent, feels about him. So we've seen both the good, the bad, and the ugly. But let's take a recap of some of the events that happened in the year 2014. It is a conflict that started as an attempted coup on December 15, 2013, crawled into 2014, and for the better part of January 2014, tensions between factions loyal to President Salva Kiir of the Dinka ethnic group and those of the Nuer ethnic group exploded into fighting on the streets of the capital, Juba. South Sudan's dramatic return to war has torn communities apart and left countless thousands dead. As of September 2014, 1.8 million people were still too afraid to return to their homes. Even though humanitarians have given assistance to over 3.1 million people in South Sudan, they estimate that at least 2.2 million were still facing either crisis or emergency levels of food insecurity. Negotiations led by the East African Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, which includes Kenya, Ethiopia, and Uganda, have so far failed to yield an agreement. The regional heads of state have met over a half a dozen times to discuss the situation in South Sudan, but these extraordinary summits have done little to stem the violence. The two rival leaders, President Salva Kiir and his former Vice President Riek Machar, remain adamant to heeding to peace talks. As of 2014, the most widespread epidemic of Ebola virus disease, commonly known as Ebola in history, is currently ongoing in several West African countries. It has caused significant mortality with a reported case fatality rate of about 71%. It began in Guinea in December 2013 and then spread to Liberia and Sierra Leone. A small outbreak of 20 cases occurred in Nigeria and one case occurred in Senegal, both now declared disease-free. Several cases have been reported in Mali. Imported cases in the United States and Spain have led to secondary infections of medical workers but have not spread further. An independent Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo that started in August 2014 has been shown by genetic analysis to be unconnected to the main epidemic. As of 10th December 2014, the World Health Organization and respective governments have reported a total of 18,232 suspected cases and 7,000 deaths, though the World Health Organization believes that this substantially underrates the magnitude of the outbreak, with true figures numbering 3 times as many cases as have been reported. Between 2009 and beginning of 2012, Boko Haram was responsible for just 900 deaths. Fast forward to the year 2014, the terror group has claimed responsibility for over 2,145 lives in different villages and states in Nigeria in all forms. Attacks on churches, mosques, schools, remote villages, and also in the capital, Abuja, have left millions of people in Africa's most populous state homeless and some with no family. However, the most radical of the attacks was the April 2014 kidnapping of over 200 schoolgirls, showed in a videotape where leader Shekau threatened to sell the kidnapped girls into slavery as war bounty. This kidnapping sparked outrage from activists who began the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, demanding that the girls be freed, while some of the girls are said to have escaped. To date, it is not clear how many of the teen girls were returned and how many remain missing. 2014 is coming to an end with President Goodluck Jonathan admitting that parts of northeast Nigeria are no longer under the state's control. One of the challenges President Goodluck faces as he vies for another presidential term is wiping out elements of terror in the 170 million populous nation. It was Thursday, October 2014, that saw the government of Burkina Faso collapse in the largest demonstration since the North Africa uprising, with citizens protesting President Blaise Compaore's plans to stay in office after 27 years. The protesters surged through the streets of Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, overrunning state broadcasters, setting fire to the parliament building and burning homes of the president's relatives. After several hours of increasingly violent protests, a government spokesman announced that a bill to extend President Compaore's term had been dropped, yet the protests continued. Not giving up, President Compaore announced that the government had been dissolved and promised more talks with the opposition to end the crisis. However, that did not satisfy the demonstrators. The following day, Compaore stepped down from presidency, making it the first time since the Arab Spring that a popular movement succeeded in removing an autocrat in sub-Saharan Africa. Also, 2014 is the year Ghana-born journalist and BBC TV presenter Komla Dumor suddenly died of cardiac arrest at his home in London at the age of 41. At the time of his death, Komla was anchor BBC World News and Focus on Africa programs. As one of Ghana's best-known journalists, he joined the BBC as a radio broadcaster in 2006 after a decade of journalism in Ghana. Komla Dumor was one of the emerging African faces of global broadcasting. He featured in New African magazine's November 2013 issue.
Sagala nyombo, ubange ino sawa ya nungu. Bagambe sagala nyombo, ino sawa ya chikiri. Mwama sembera, mulamu basoba. Jangu chechale, yansiri akulika. Lekazine, nenzina mumama, mulamu wachisera. Ato muziki zuri sana. Lekazine, nenzina mulamu wachisera. Jango muziki tugusamba Gambe toba kona chongamba Jango enu tuichanga Ayelelelelele Ayelelelelele Lekazine Nenzina mumama Mulamu wachisera Ato muziki zuri sana Lekazine Nenzina mulamu wachisera
Welcome to this segment where we do speak to people who know about Africa, who know so many things about Africa, political, social, economic. And today we're here to talk how to make money on YouTube. Now, YouTube is considered the world's largest video platform with more than 1 billion monthly users. Kenya, for example, has approximately 20 million internet users, meaning that there is an active audience ready to watch your creative videos. All you need to do is post them on your YouTube channel and earn money out of this. Many of us visit YouTube for entertainment or to learn something new or just watch content already produced by a media house or individuals. But did you know that all this time you spend on YouTube, you're actually making someone else some money? And the point is, you too can make money on YouTube by creating a channel. And joining me to talk YouTube money is Dorothy Oko, who is Google's Communications and Public Affairs Manager for East and Francophone Africa. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, the big question that everyone would like to know is, how exactly can I be able to make money online or on YouTube in this case?
Thank you for having me, Joy. How to make money on YouTube? You need to create a channel, a YouTube channel, and then you need to allow Google to monetize, to be able to place ads on it. So some people create a channel, but then they don't allow us to monetize. So you really need to go to the icon in your settings and say, I'm allowing Google to be able to place ads on it and be able to make money. And then you need to make sure that the content you're creating is what people are looking for, and to make sure that that content is always coming. You're always coming up with something new, and people are always coming to your channel because they find that there's something new you're sharing.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you talk about content that people are looking for, let's look at Africa as a continent, for example. What is the most searched or Googled information that one can actually be able to post on their YouTube channel?
So a lot of the stuff that we see has to do with music. Music seems to be a big, there's a big love, it's entertaining. The other thing that's really big in the rest of Africa, but I haven't seen a lot of it in Kenya, are dance videos. People really like, it doesn't matter if it's Kedeku, showing people how to dance. People want to know, how do you dance this? So dance videos are also very popular. And then the other thing are videos that are teaching people how to do something. A lot of the stuff, we're just talking now with Collins, who's doing the makeup.
Right.
A lot of the stuff you find on YouTube, like for makeup, is very Western oriented. It's for white skin. So if someone was able to get that and be able to have, something for black people. So content that is local, that is relevant, will make people go to your channel. And you just need to figure out what is it and what is the niche that you're having, and then be able to get it.
Right.
Yeah, I also think that the gym, people do look at, how do you work out? I was telling you this morning, when I don't have time, I'm on YouTube watching the workout videos. And again, a lot of that is really what is, elsewhere. It's so great to have local content, someone who knows, what are the hassles about finding a good gym and what is the stuff that we need to have that's really ours, including Roomba dance, or something that's very local, I think could really get good hits.
Interesting. So I'm thinking that as Africans, maybe there are a lot of African individuals who have YouTube channels, but then maybe some of them are posting the wrong content. So from an African perspective, what do you think would sell most for us, especially for people who are looking to making money on YouTube? What exactly can they post on there?
So generally, I think what people want anywhere in the world, when people come to YouTube, they're looking for something that's entertaining or informative. So if you have information that is entertaining or informative, then people are going to want to come and look. The other thing we always say with YouTube, so TV is more about lean back. When you're watching TV at home, you sort of lean back and you watch and entertain. When you're watching YouTube, you're watching it from your phone or from any other, and you sort of go like this, you lean forward.
Right.
So it's content that makes people want to go and, lean forward. And that brings me to, if you look at the top 10 videos for YouTube Rewind in Kenya, the music video, Sauti Sol, there too, Nishike and Surayako were the top 2. But if you look at Nishike, what was it that kept us, women, looking. It was, oh, wow, that looks nice. And you leaned forward more to watch that. And from beginning to end, you're really just caught up because you wanted to see what they're doing. You like the moves. And that's what sells. It has to be about content that is really holding people, that is interesting. And it's not too long because people get bored and move out, but it's just the right amount. And then it's very entertaining or very informative.
Right. And if you were looking at duration, you know, the shorter the clip is, then the more interesting it could be. Or are we looking at the content itself?
So a lot of the stuff, so when we did the YouTube, when we do the YouTube rewind, so the content it's how many people like that video, how many views, and what are the comments that people are making about it. And is it shareable? Because if people like something, they're like, I want Joy to know. And they click the share button, they want to share it with you on any of the social media circles you're in.
Right.
Because it's entertaining, it's either giving you a lot of information. People want to, and you're like, oh, you missed this. You know, we were talking about Macria and Gilly, you know, on KTN Live, that was amongst the top 10 videos.
Yes.
So if you missed it, I'm like, did you watch this? Did you watch John Alan Namu do this? And then I'm sharing it immediately. So it also has to be shareable. And if you look at most of the videos that came in, like, let's say the ads, so we saw a lot of advertisers, and their ads were top 10. So if you look, there was a Safaricom, Barclays Bank, Coca-Cola, and Airtel, who were amongst the top advertisers with videos. A lot of their videos were really short videos. And we normally tell advertisers, if the first 5 seconds you don't get your audience, they've already skipped it, you know? So the first 2 seconds are critical, and that someone says, wow, that's a good one, I want to watch, you know, Barclay, Africa, you know, what does Prosper mean? Or I'm looking at Airtel Trace, I'm thinking, wow, I want to be one of the winners. Or I'm looking at the Safaricom Foundation, you know, and what they had, and saying, I want to be able to support what they're doing with the foundation, with the visually impaired.
Right.
So for that, it has to be short. But for a music, you know, a music video, then you need it, you know, the length of your music, but then it has to be entertaining. If it's just boring music, then nothing happens. But I think that we saw Sauti Sol just rise up because it was talked about, and they hyped it on social media.
And it was very entertaining.
It was very entertaining. And they even asked people, like, if we really like your dance move, we're going to include you in the final. And people were already posting, look at my dance. So there's one where they did with the Sarakasi dancers, and that also was one of the top ones because people are like, I'm part of it. So if you're able to find a way as an artist to also make your audience feel part of it and feel that they're with you, then you'll get your viewers and you'll get your subscribers.
Right. And speaking of subscribers, let's just get out of Kenya and look at the African perspective. Looking at all the countries across Africa, who were the most users, let's say subscribers, channel creators, and just the viewers of content on YouTube? Which of the other African countries had the most views?
So if we look, so when you look at Nigeria and South Africa, and you look at their, you know, video industry and what they're doing, they seem to be slightly a bit ahead of us in Kenya in terms of just getting, you know, getting that content and getting people to talk about it and keeping that content very alive and very new and very engaging. So they're having more subscribers. In Kenya, I think we are now seeing traction because we are seeing, like, I think for Sauti Sol, this was really a big fuss that you've released a video, and in less than 2 months, we've seen it going to 300 views, and people are sharing. I still think they've got great potential of doing more because, especially after winning the MTV award, that they, you know, you can send it viral. But they did that, and on their videos, you could see there was a link to watch, let's say, Surayako. So you put a link for people to watch some other content of yours, and that way you keep it going. In Nigeria, what's really interesting about Nigeria, most of their, you know, their top 10 artists are all Nigerians, you know, and they really push that, and they've gotten a way of using the social media to really engage, and they've gotten the Nigerian people just watching, everyone just watching. So if you look at that, you see that even in Kenya, we are really intrigued. We watch the Nigerian, you know, videos. We love, you know, I was just telling someone at the studio, I love Dorobuchi, and it was one of the top 10, you know? So you see that we are here, and that's what we love as well. We watch Davido's Ayo, which was already there. So I think being able to get people to just love it, and then they include their dance moves, which is really important. As I talked about Kenya not having a lot of dance videos. Nigeria and South Africa, you get a lot of those dance videos which people want. So you have the song, but people are like, how do you dance that? And if you're able to include that, then people are like, wow, that's really cool, I can do it. Oh, so I want to watch the Nishike, but I also want to see how it's done. So I think that also having the dance videos, if you're an artist, a musician, also makes people want to, wow, that's really cool. Oh, you mean you can do that?
So aside from entertainment, what other kind of content have Africans posted on YouTube?
Right.
For instance, because what we see right now is if you Google something about Nigeria, something else will come up. You know, if say you're Googling about the First Lady of Lagos, Nigeria, the second thing that comes right below it is either a music video or it's something to do with Boko Haram. So looking at that perspective, do you think that, say, because the numbers in Nigeria, the population in Nigeria is higher than maybe any other African country, that is why their content has more views on YouTube?
No, and there's a point. Of course, the numbers, because we are talking about 850 million people. But if you use that, then you'd expect that in Kenya, for instance, if you look at the views, let's say, of, and these views, if you click on the, let's say, Sauti Sol or Bahati, or even Willie Paul Msafi's, you know, CD, since it's the top 10, if you look at the numbers, they still don't give the percentage of our population, which is 44 million. You should. So I still think there's work that the artists there do that we are not able to do. And one of it is people just, we post, the artists post, and that's it. They don't do anything more. But I think there's more. It's not just about posting. It's how do you keep your subscribers engaged to your content. So, you know, how about showing people what you do? So let's say like Davido, you know, off the scenes, you know, you decided to go to this place and you're just interacting with people. It's not music, but people love you and they want to find out what you're doing and they want to follow that and you're giving it to them because there are fans out there. So I think how do you engage with the audience and how do you keep that information? It's not just about, I've put the video on YouTube, that's it. But you're constantly engaging your audience, constantly asking, and which is why I like what Sauti Sol did as well, which is say, hey, we are doing this. If anyone can show us the dance moves, you're going to be in the video. People were posting and, you know, I want that, and you can share it on whichever, you know, on whichever platform. I think getting your music lovers to participate in that, they feel like you're part of them. So I think there's a lot more to do with engaging your audience. So it's not just about posting on Facebook, on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Google Plus or YouTube. It's more about how are you keeping them engaged and how are you making them talk. And it could be just talking about things that are nothing to do with that. I liked it when Sauti Sol, so I seem to quote Sauti Sol a lot, but when we had the sexual harassment of women, they were like, we are doing a concert to support women and we are against sexual harassment.
Right.
So that's important.
So when we bring it down to this individual who is just starting from zero to make the money on YouTube, what exactly, you know, pushes it to the point where, okay, now they're earning $1 or they're earning $2 or $5, $10 and all that. What exactly contributes to that?
So the first thing, I think, is content. Which area? Where do you want to be? So where is your strong point? And I always tell people, where is your passion? What are you passionate about? You've looked at the Kenyan market and you think that, wow, I think this is something missing here. And if I was to do this, I'd be able to get people to watch. Because many young people, if you look, use YouTube on their mobile. So mobile is really on and it's king. And then the next thing is, how do you make that content very engaging, it's not you're just telling people. As I said, if you're telling people, they can have TV where they lean back and they want to be told. You need to make them lean forward where they're like, wow, that is so cool. I want to make a comment on it. Because that's very important. Can people talk about what you've posted? And the next thing, can they share it? Because commenting is very good, it's good. It doesn't matter what people are saying, but they're talking about what you've posted. That's very good for you. The next thing is, can they share it? Are they so excited about that? They want to share it with everyone. My friend is in Nigeria, hey, just watch this. You know, my friend is here, I want them to watch. Is it shareable? Are you giving people that sort of story that makes them want to share? And then nextly, are you also keeping in touch? You know, you're keeping your channel alive by posting. So let's say once month, people know Joy is going to post, and they're just waiting for Joy to post. Or are you posting today? 3 months later, no one knows what you're going to post. You've been too quiet. People don't know. So I think that's where you need to think that you need to engage. Otherwise, you lose them. If you're quiet for 2 months, you've lost them. They've gone elsewhere. The concentration span that we have on social media and on these channels is very short.
Right.
So you need to be able to keep people, you know, like, wow, exactly. Keep them captivated.
Right. So is it the more views, the more money, or you allowing YouTube or Google in this case to monetize your channel?
You need to allow YouTube to monetize. So you could have great content, and we've seen that with a number of artists in Kenya where someone has released a great song. We're talking about it in the office, and then we're like, hey, have they monetized? And then you check, they haven't, they forgot. They forgot to go to the settings button and say, I'm allowing YouTube to monetize, which means you can place ads and pay me that, you know, pay me money. They completely forgot. It's a very simple thing, but people forget. And then you've hit 700,000 and like you haven't made money on it.
Right.
So the key thing is, first of all, allow YouTube to monetize. So when you set your channel, remember that video you've uploaded, immediately go and allow YouTube to monetize, you know, so that you can monetize. Next, you know, that's the key thing. Next is also not just the views, because it's many things that make you top. And I've said it's the views plus the comments plus the shareability, how people are sharing it. If you have that right combination of the views, of comments, because it's creating, you know, people are talking about it and people are sharing about it, they want everyone to watch, then you've got a great deal, you know, and then now you can sit back and think of the next one and the next one. So you're just not letting time elapse before you put on another video.
Right. Today's youths, of course, are looking for all kinds of avenues for them to make money. So right now I'm thinking that whoever is watching is like, how much do I get, you know, out of this content of mine? If I posted a video that has maybe 700 comments and about, say, over 200,000 views, how much money do I make out of that specific?
Unfortunately, Joy, I know, and I get that question a lot. Unfortunately, I can't tell you that if it's not a clear, you know, that you've got 700, therefore it equals to X shillings or X dollars, or I've got so many comments. It all comes into that, but there's shareability where, you know, how much Google keeps and how much YouTube keeps and how much we give to the content owner is very, very clear. That's very clear. So that's open.
You can actually, how do you know that now, oh my gosh, it's time for me to collect the money?
Oh, we let you know. So immediately you've allowed YouTube, you've told YouTube, I'm ready to monetize. The next thing is for you to set up an AdWords account, which says that in an AdWords account, if you Google how to create an AdWords account, it just says that this is how you're going to pay me, and all your contacts details are there, and when the time is, you get that payment just already wired to your account. So it's very automatic, but you then need your AdWords account for that.
Interesting. So 2015 is coming very soon.
Yes.
And knowing that this is the last edition of Africa Speaks for 2014, what do you encourage people who would like to make money on YouTube to do in the year 2015?
So local is king. Really, you need to have content that's local. We are not going to YouTube to look for content, you know, from America or from Europe. We are looking for content that's Kenyan, that really appeals to us, that meets our needs. So look at what Kenya, you know, wherever you are, look at what Kenyans are looking at. Look at where, if it's Nigeria where you are, because this is Africa Speaks, the whole Africa is looking. Look at your community. Look at what the needs are. If you're able to meet that need, you'll create the video and the video channel that is going to get you there, because people are going to be going and looking for that all the time. I was looking at, I look at workout videos because I'm passionate about that, and I see 3 million subscribers, 3 million. That's what I'd like to see someone here doing a Roomba class and saying, I'm having a Roomba class because that's unique, that's ours, it's African, and we're all going to dance to it, and we're going to lose weight, and they'll see how many subscribers they'll get. And it doesn't have to be expensive. They can just do that even on their phone, put it there, let people know they're there, and they'll start making money.
Right.
The opportunity is there.
Very interesting. Now, thank you so much. But before we leave, 2014 has been a year filled with all kinds of things. You know, we've seen terror attacks, we've seen protests, for instance, in Burkina Faso. Which have been the most Googled, or what has been the most Googled content just on Google? As soon as people get into Google,
You want on Google or on YouTube?
Google,
yes.
For the year 2014, what exactly has that been?
So I shouldn't tell you this because we're going to release that next week, but
Okay.
you can guess. You can take a wild guess. What was the big event that happened in 2014? It starts with W.
It starts with W.
Yes.
Oh, man. I can't figure.
World Cup.
I can't. Wow.
That was
Wow.
the biggest everywhere in the world, every country. That was the big moment.
So
People, football
you
is
can
big.
give us a sneak peek into like the top 10 most Googled.
Joy, you can't do this to me. I've given you so World Cup was really, really big for us, for the whole continent. We love football. In Kenya, we love all things football.
Right.
So that was really good. But I think if, just to make you happy, because we are on KTN, I think KTN Live, the Makri and Jili was really good. And we're just seeing a lot of some of your shows really making it to that top list, which means that you're creating something that is a social commentary that people are so excited about, and they're sharing it over and over again. And I think that's really great.
Right. So are those, is that content that is on KTN monetized? Because, we need to know that. and
Yes,
see.
and you know that I think that KTN is one of those channels that really does monetize well. And if you ask your team, I think they're really happy with the monetization, because KTN, you put your content right there on time. So we're able to see, it doesn't matter if someone missed Jicho Pevu, you're online, you'll get it. And so I think the way you've worked it out, it's really good, and you people are doing well.
Right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the final edition of Africa Speaks for the year 2014.
Thank you.
And we've been speaking to Dorothy Owoko, who is the Google's Communications and Public Affairs Manager for Eastern Francophone Africa. So as we head into 2015, hope you at least have learned a thing or two on how to monetize your YouTube channels, and also try to make the money and see how that goes for you. Probably next year you will be seated here and telling us how much money you have made from your YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching us, and for this Christmas edition, we're wishing you a very happy Christmas and a prosperous 2015.
This is KTN. Welcome home.